Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a supernatural slasher exploitation video nasty Italian horror film, I guess, from director shit. Damn it. From director Dario Argento, the man behind such films as Suspiria, which is an absolutely amazing movie, and my personal favorite from him, Opera. Now, I've seen what he can do. These are probably two of his most famous films, and I've seen what he can do with film. You know, he's a really good director. So this film is like the kind of sequel to Suspiria, and when I say sequel, it's kind of like how the Blood trilogy works. How the Blood trilogy are just 3 movies directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis. They're splatter films, and they have nothing to do with each other other than the fact that they're splatter films and they're directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis. These films are really just about the same, except it's made of 3 movies, and it seems like Suspiria is probably the most famous one, then Inferno's the second most famous, then Three Mothers, or no, The Mother of Tears is probably the one that's considered probably the worst, and it's part of this trilogy called the Three Mothers trilogy. I've already seen and reviewed Suspiria, and don't watch my review of Suspiria because I was horribly biased back then, and Suspiria's actually grown on me quite a bit, and I definitely say it's probably one of my favorite Italian horror films now. But I still prefer Opera, even though Suspiria has that really nice style. So this film is like the sequel to Suspiria. It's about an American college student in Rome and his sister who is in New York, and they're both investigating murders that are occurring in both places, and both the places also happen to be home to covens of witches. So obviously the connections here are Dario Argento, horror films. I assume it's probably going to have the same visual style as Suspiria, and I'm pretty sure the music is also done by Goblin, so the music's probably going to be awesome. And they both have to do with witches. The only thing unique about this one is that this is a video nasty. One of the infamous video nasties, one of the films that was banned in the UK in the 80s. And this film's from 1980. So, let's see if Dario's films from the 80s are better than his ones from the 70s. So the movie opens with a girl reading a book called The Three Mothers. Basically, this book has to do with, and it basically explains what this series of movies is about. So there are 3 mothers who are 3 witches, and they each have a coven. And this guy who wrote this book about them explains in the book, I built 3 buildings for one building for each of the mothers and their coven, and I'm going to assume that the apartment building that our female main character is staying at is one of them. So yeah, and I'm also going to assume that the school in Suspiria is also one of these locations that was built as well. The film has the same kind of style as Suspiria, so it looks really nice. And then the main character, she talks to this old guy who sold her the book, who had read some of it before, and I kind of get the feeling that he wrote the book at this point, or he had something to do with the book. Writing and acting here all around is pretty good. Nothing too great, but for horror standards, pretty good. The characters are likable and relatable. The effects here are all very top-notch. The sets look really nice. They have a very kind of Argento look to them. The lighting and visual style here is very, very nice, very breathtaking. It's on par with Suspiria. Although in Suspiria I feel like in Suspiria the style was used a lot more. Like in this film it's not used as much as it is in Suspiria. Maybe I'm just losing my mind slowly. So yeah. The camera work here is pretty good. Nothing too like Kubrickian levels of just awesome camera work. Just kind of, you know, subpar camera work, about on par with Suspiria. The music here, sadly, is not done by Goblin. And the reason is, apparently, the person who produced the film was like, no, I don't want Goblin to do the music again, because they're just going to do the same shit again. Or something like that. He basically said, I don't want Goblin doing the music, so I'm going to hire this other band that's basically going to do very similar music, except it's not going to be as good. So the music here is actually kind of okay. Here, the only big problem I have with this movie is that there are a few scenes where this really could have been a very cool, creepy, tense, you know, like atmospheric scene, and instead of putting the cool, tense, creepy, atmospheric music, they put like some light rock or just like some guitar riff. Like, there's a scene very similar to the opening scene where, very similar to the opening scene in a taxi in the opening scene in the taxi in Suspiria, and instead of using, you know, very similar creepy music, they literally have a kind of like 80s metal kind of, you know, guitar music playing in the background. I'm not saying I don't like 80s metal, I love 80s metal, but it's just a little ridiculous, and it feels very out of place for an Argento film. The only thing I can really say is it's an Argento film with a very similar style to Suspiria, so you probably will like this one if you saw Suspiria. Honestly, I don't think it's as good as Suspiria or Opera, but I still really liked it. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like Nosferatu and 10 being something like Brain Dead, Inferno is probably about a 4.5. I really don't get why this was on the Video Nasties list, because Opera is more violent than this, and Suspiria is more violent than this. So, I mean, I kind of don't get why it's on the Video Nasties list. Really, other than a few scenes, which are probably some of the coolest scenes in the movie, it's not too graphic, honestly. Like I said, it's not as good as Suspiria or Opera, but it's still a pretty good horror flick, and I definitely give it a solid recommendation if you've yet to check it out and you've seen some of Argento's other stuff. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5, maybe even a 4.5 out of 5. It's just a really nice looking, dazzling kind of film. And really all it makes me want to do after watching it is watch Suspiria. And it's like 1 in the morning and I really don't want to watch Suspiria at this hour. So I might watch it in the morning. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, like my channel, be sure to like this video, favorite it, whatever you want, and maybe subscribe perhaps. I would really, really appreciate that. And check the links in the description below. There are links to things like my Tumblr, Twitter, all that, Facebook. All that is in the description below, as well as Rotten Cotton t-shirts, where I get my horror film t-shirts like this I Drink Your Blood t-shirt I'm wearing right now. This is available on their site for like 15 bucks. It's a pretty good deal if you buy like 6 or 7 shirts, and you get it. And if they're like under 20 bucks, you can buy them all together as a package, and you get it for like 70 bucks. And it's a really, really good deal. It's where I get my horror film t-shirts. And be sure to check out my friend Chloe, her cosplay and makeup tutorial channel. It is in the description. She always does something really interesting, really cool. And I guess that's it. I'm signing off. You guys have a good day, good night, good whatever. Peace.